What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Scyushi, and we are back to more Trove. A little bit of an interesting Trove video because it's not necessarily a Trove video. It's actually a Trove video in name alone. It's a disguise. So I basically ended up asking you guys on my community tab, you know, we haven't had our yearly AMA, Q&A, whatever the hell you call it these days. Basically, you guys asked me whatever you want, right? So we ended up getting a couple different comments, and I thought that instead of just sitting in front of the camera, deadpan, just my face, just me talking to you guys, I thought, you know what, let's make it interesting. I'll try to grind Trove while reading these comments and making my responses to them. So starting right out of the gate, we got a really mean comment from Retro Galaxy 3569 saying, "Did you fall off?" Now, very, very mean. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Like, myself personally, I think my videos are the best they've ever been, but YouTube in itself has changed a lot in terms of like the algorithm and all that stuff. And then on top of that, Trove also hasn't really had very exciting updates because, let's be real, a lot of my views do end up coming from my Trove videos, and when there's a new update that people are excited about, it's like the good old days. My views go through the roof. And generally speaking, my views aren't like bad per se. There's something to be said about my channel where it's always been a channel where I get retroactive views. So just because my most recent upload isn't generating a lot of views when, you know, you're watching it like yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not still generating a lot of views on older videos. In particular, a lot of my tutorials and stuff still generate a lot of views and so on and so forth. Like, I'm still basically getting the same paycheck that I've been getting from YouTube for years. So clearly I'm still doing it right. Now, to get a little bit more philosophical about it and talk more about like my personal feelings, I have been talking about this extensively during some live streams because frankly speaking, I think that's a very, very toxic, hateful comment. It's kind of weird how people think it's okay to talk about that sort of thing because I could take it personal and be like, well, I wouldn't come to your job and say, oh, you're doing a bad job because frankly speaking, I'm doing a great job. Like, let's be real. I'm hitting off on all cylinders with my videos lately. It's just that YouTube itself is just kind of a crappy platform now for creativity. And, I don't want to get too into it because obviously I don't want the entire, video to be hijacked about, talking about this stuff. But suffice to say, there's something that I like telling you guys lately. It's kind of a quote where I say YouTube is stifling to creativity. Like, it's ironic that I'm considered a content creator when the entire platform is ironically designed around pigeonholing, like getting into one specific niche and staying with it 100%. So for example, if I wanted my channel to be more successful, I would stop doing everything on the channel except for Trove videos. And it would just be tutorials, no live streams, nothing, right? You've seen it with other YouTubers where they find their niche and then they run with it. In my opinion, that is extremely dull. And I just can't justify doing that because, frankly speaking, if I do that, I'm going to quit YouTube. I've done that before where I started to really placate to what YouTube would push for views and what a lot of you guys would end up watching for views. And it's soul crushing, man. Like, at the end of the day, I love this platform for the idea that I can create videos for you guys. And I mean, sure, it's awesome that I get paid for it, but I'm trying desperately to push that to the wayside because one of the big things that YouTube really tries to push, again, in terms of damaging towards mental health, is the numbers, the math. It wants you to have more subscribers because more subscribers usually equals more views because more views equals a higher paycheck. That's not why I do YouTube. I don't do YouTube because of the paycheck. The paycheck is just a glorious side effect that I'm eternally grateful to you guys that I can do this full time because, I get to work my own hours and I'm completely self-employed, which can be dangerous because I work my ass off. But suffice to say, things are going very good for me personally. And I also think that everything with the channel, it's in a very good direction right now. It's just whether or not the algorithm is going to randomly start pushing some of my side videos, or more importantly, if another game comes around, Hightail, that actually starts generating views, because Trove is, it's kind of on the out. Like, let's be real, but it's not like I'm planning on quitting the game by any means. Even if the game ends up dying, I'll still find ways to cover it. Magic UFO says, any tips for starting a habit of exercising? So this is before we get into this question and dissect it, I did want to mention, I'm sorry about my last workout video. I think that I tried a little too hard to not waste your guys' time and get straight to the point with that video, not realizing that a lot of you guys that ended up watching my workout videos and stuff, you might not ever have worked out. So a lot of stuff that I'm talking about goes over your head, or just, doesn't make sense without context. So to answer your question of, starting a habit of exercising, start out easy. Just start first and foremost, and make sure that you have a nice balance. Push yourself, yes, but sometimes you just have an off day, and then you can either just not go to the gym or just do something really light and easy. Or if time is the big issue, you could just end up, doing like maybe even one workout and then just leaving for the day, because you're like, screw this, I don't feel it, right? The point is to go there no matter what and just get involved with it. Move your body around. Maybe you don't even end up lifting weights. You just go to the treadmill for like 20 minutes or something like that one day. Now, I'm obviously not saying that you should make a habit out of doing that. You still want to try to push yourself. But one of the big things that I've been really enjoying is the MyRep Max. So to clarify and go into a bit more detail about this, MyRep Max basically is this idea of working out where, let's say like you're doing like your bicep curls, right? Which the way that I do my bicep curls is ungodly weird now, but anyways, you'll basically do your curls for X amount, right? Basically go up to failure. Failure being with proper technique and a good understanding of your body and the workouts yourself. Failure would be like 2 or 3 more reps in the tank. But in most cases, you need to just push yourself until you can't do it anymore, because you need to be able to understand what your limit is, right? So with that said, let's say you end up getting to around like 20 reps, right? With, a moderately low weight, like 10, 15 pounds or something like that. And you end up getting to like 20 reps. So what you would do is then you would take your break, and then the next set, you would hit that 20 rep range again. But you are allowed to take micro breaks. So let's say maybe you can only rep about like 10. And then suddenly it's like, oh, I can't lift it anymore. So you take a little bit of a break, take 10, 20 seconds, and then you do it again. And you just do that over and over and repeatedly until you hit that rep range that you hit on the first set, that magical 20, right? And then you stop, take a break after you've hit that 20, and then you do it again. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because MyRep Max has been fundamentally like changing my mentality with working out, because I can be in and out of the gym completely blasting my muscles in like 30 minutes. And that is hugely important to me, because as soon as my workouts started getting to like the 2 to 3 hour range, it was like, dude, this is ridiculous. I don't want to be here this long, especially because I work out alone. And I'm also kind of a weirdo and I don't listen to music. I just work out in solidarity. Michael's a simp 5930 says, what's your PR on your bench? So I'll admit that my PR is probably really bad right now, because almost all of my exercises I do with dumbbells, because my gym that we have here at the condo, it's free, so I don't have to pay for it, but it doesn't have a bench or any like heavy weights, which is why a lot of my workouts have swapped to dumbbells. So regardless of all of that, I always had a really weak chest. Like genetically, it was always the one aspect of my body that couldn't keep up. Like I was, able to deadlift 410 pounds plus. I was able to squat up to 400 pounds because my legs are like Giga Chad God tier, which has slowly injured me over time, and I never do that anymore. But as far as a chest, it was always lagging behind. I always had a really hard time even lifting my body weight. But I was able to push myself like a couple years back. I started to work on my infrastructure of my chest. So rather than just doing bench, I was actually doing everything but the bench exercise. And that ended up building up whatever muscles were lacking. And I was able to push it to 225, 230, something like that, which is huge for me, especially considering I weigh like 190. So yeah, again, I don't think that I could do that anymore. But that was around my personal best. XY, spelled WHY. B says, would you rather control the 5 elements or control time? 5 elements. I mean, I don't know. I guess the 5 elements, I don't really think about that sort of thing. Controlling time would be really cool, obviously, but I think that there's like this romantic idea people have with, oh, well, if I could control time, I could go back in time and then I could end up, like changing things within my life or whatever. And most of all, it usually equates to money, figuring out like, oh, I would invest in Tesla or something. For me personally, I don't really like those romantic ideas because, frankly speaking, it's unrealistic, because time is not linear. That's just how we as apes think, or in my case, lizards, my lizard brain. But I don't really have any like regrets or anything, and everything in my life kind of led to this point. So I don't really have any romantic idea behind like going back in time. I don't know if that's what the time control thing was implying with the question, but that's how I took it. Now, with that said, if there is one thing that I would like to change about myself, I've done a lot of stupid crap like back in the day. So much so that I've got like a lot of personal traumas and things that just kind of creep into the back of my mind where it's like, oh man, I wish I never did this because I don't like this thought creeping up in the back of my head kind of thing. But at the same time, it shaped me into being who I am, and I think I'm a pretty cool dude. I'm doing all right. Marshy Shape, another gym-related question, saying, "How's the gym going? How do you look now?" So my last video that I talked about my workout is pretty much how I'm looking right now. Again, I didn't get into too much detail about my body composition, which I probably should have. The main thing that changed with my new workout regimen is my shoulders got way bigger than they were before, and my lats are also getting significantly better. I think that I look pretty damn good right now, if I do say so. I got a lot of definition, especially like from my neck to my lower chest. The main thing that's kind of lacking is my gut. Obviously, I got a little bit of that fat waist that guys just end up having because that's where fat is stored for us. It's not awful. Like, I'm not a chubster or anything like that, but I don't have abs like I used to back in the day. A lot of that just has to do with the fact that I don't diet correctly with, my workouts and stuff like that. I hate the idea of counting calories. I did it once before and it made me like super depressed. So now I kind of just try to eat healthy and regulate what I eat. And then on top of that, I just also try to squeeze in more cardio nowadays. And hopefully that'll end up just making me slowly shed the pounds. But generally speaking, it's really hard to lose body fat, especially when I'm still trying to get enough protein and stuff so that I can end up working out efficiently. But yeah, the main thing that I'm changed right now and hoping makes a difference over time is my bicep exercise, because I kind of have genetically, I have really, really good biceps in that they heal almost instantly. So it's really, really difficult for me to push my biceps to the point where they start growing because, the whole mechanic behind working out is that you're pushing your muscles and essentially tearing them. That's what that soreness is. And then the body is going, oh crap, I need to make this stronger. So it reconstructs it and thus it gives you more muscle. So what I've been doing is I basically am just laying flat on my back on a bench, and then I'm doing a curl to the point where my arm basically like touches the ground, and then I curl from that position. It does a wonderful stretch on the bicep, and I'm really hoping that it makes a difference. I'll tell you this, it makes my biceps sore consistently every exercise. So I hope that overall I can make my arms grow a bit bigger, because You know, you can never have bigger arms. Hydrolock187 says, don't know what to ask yet, so I'll just tell you that I'm proud of how far you've gotten. Thank you. I appreciate it, man, especially considering you've been around the channel for such a long time. That's very, very sweet. Colton7697 says, whatever happened to Johnny Captain Napkin? My brother, he got busy with his own real life stuff, basically. You know, I don't really hang out with him that much. It's one of the things that I will say, like, this is it's kind of a sad notion. If you're growing up and you have a sibling, you know, I always thought we would always be in it together. We would always be a team. We would always, you know, have each other's backs kind of thing. And it's not that we don't, but one thing that surprised me with adulthood was how we slowly started to grow apart. Not in our relationship, you know, we still, if we end up getting together, we're just laughing and joking all the time like the good old days. But we don't like hang out because we've got our own lives that we're managing. You know, like he's got his own career, he's got his own wife. Recently they had a baby, so that's really exciting. And obviously, you know, that takes priority. And then meanwhile, on my end, I've got my wife, I've got my career, and hopefully soon, yeah. Archetype 9474, huge throwback. Okay. He says, why did you originally name the channel Antignarot, and why did you change it? Jesus, dude, have you been around that long? So, Antignarot, I have no idea why I named the channel Antignarot originally. Like, there's basically this game on RPG Maker, the old school RPG Maker, that I would say is probably one of the only like full-on just complete products. You know, it's kind of like a testament to what RPG Maker can achieve. And it's called Jade's Journey. And in that game, the bad guy was called Antignarot. And they always made this joke where there would be like the voice line from some of the characters where the bad guy would always, you know, get his name pronounced wrong by the hero and other characters. And so he'd always be like, that's Antignarot, you know. I don't know why it stuck with me, and for whatever reason, like I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to like, you know, naming things and trend things, where I don't follow current trends. Usually I kind of just do my own thing. I guess in a way you could say I'm kind of like, mentally I'm a trend setter. It's just that I don't really set trends because my mind is like so weird. So I kind of just went with that because I thought, oh, this is a cool reference most people won't understand, and then, you know, whatever. And then eventually we moved on to being called Scythe Plays because my real life name is Scythe. And, you know, for the most part, that was what the channel was about, and it just made a lot more sense. And then for whatever stupid reason, I just decided, you know what, let's rename the channel again and screw myself over in the algorithm. And so I renamed it to Scyushi because to me, again, Scythe is my real name, so to me, it was kind of cringe to just be called Scythe Plays. It'd be like if your name was Matt or Bob, it'd be like Bob Plays, you know? Now, that said, Sai in my Scyushi name is just what people call me in real life, and then Ushi is just because I like sushi. I just came up with the idea in like 10 minutes, and if there's one thing that you could at least say about me, at the very least, it's that I'm committed to my ideas, because, you know, I just came up with the idea of renaming the channel Scyushi, and then I went with it. And, you know, I'm happy with it because I think that it's more of a internet persona idea rather than just being like just me, you know what I mean? Piyuns7513 says, and this is actually a really relevant question, perfect timing, saying, I know you used to play Wynncraft a long time ago, and with the recent updates and plans really changing up and improving the game, I was wondering if you would ever consider returning to it. 100%. Yes. Right now, if you guys don't know, they actually have their Rekindled update. I've been keeping up with it, and I've been thinking long and hard about how I want to approach it, because basically it's in a beta state right now, and you can buy your way in for like $30. It's US dollars, so it's quite expensive. But we don't know how long the beta is going to last. A lot of people speculate it's going to take about a month. I'm considering just buying access and starting a new series of Wynncraft because, you know me, I love Wynncraft. But the one thing that I kind of feel bad about is Wynncraft is one of those games where I love the early game and eventually I get bored. With this new Rekindled update, it changed a lot of mechanics because it's finally on the newest version of Minecraft, which is awesome, instead of 1.8. They got new animations, new creature design and stuff, all sorts of stuff. And most notably, I noticed that they ended up overhauling the level 40 gap, which is the desert area. And as you know, the desert area is kind of one of the worst areas in the game. At least it is for me. I always play up to the desert, and then usually that's where I quit because the quest gets so convoluted and stupid that I just get bored. So suffice to say, I'm probably gonna go back to Wynncraft sooner than you would expect because I'm probably gonna buy access to it because screw it, I'm fine with supporting them. But on top of that, I wanna start a new character, and hopefully with my new style of editing, I'll be able to commit to it, because my last few Wynncraft playthroughs that I did, I attempted to do it as like live streams only, and live streaming has its advantages, but pressure is not one of them, because I feel pressure no matter what. Like, this is just how my brain works. Live streaming is supposed to be super chill and you just don't care, right? And when it comes to Trove, that's really easy for me to do. But when it comes to doing a playthrough of other games, I have this like monkey on my back of sorts where I feel pressured into progressing. And if I start screwing around or getting confused in a quest, which happens with Wynncraft a lot because of the lack of direction, then I'm sitting there and I feel bad. I feel anxious because suddenly I'm wasting 10 minutes of your guys' time trying to figure something out that I could just look online, but that kind of defeats the purpose because I like discovering things for myself. So the plan is start a new character, going into it solo, because I don't think any of my friends want to play Wynncraft anymore. And that's another thing that kind of held me back in a way, was that I felt like I was kind of waiting to play the game with my friends rather than just being able to hop on and enjoy it. I'm not saying in any way, oh, my friends held me back, because in most cases they get to the end game and I've quit before then. But I'm saying that with my heavy cuts nowadays, it means that I can end up recording very easily and then just splicing that together into something that's more reasonable and cutting out all the waste of time BS nonsense. XYB again has another question saying, am I uggles? That's the throwback, because if you guys don't know, we used to say uggles a lot because people got butthurt whenever I would say ugly. In which case, are you uggles? You do have a Sonic picture as your icon, so I think Sonic's uggles like on the inside, right? No, he's uggles on the... Yeah, he's uggles on the inside because his games are always kind of bleh. TJL Productions says, what's the biggest joy you get from creating content on YouTube? Honestly, like, that's the thing, is it's not like the views, it's not the money. I mean, the money's wonderful, but for the most part, it's just when it comes to like my Trove videos and tutorials and stuff, helping you guys. Because I think that I'm very, very good at articulating my thoughts when it comes to presenting a tutorial in such a way that it makes sense and it's cohesive. That's something that I pride myself on. And one of the reasons why I started doing tutorials in the first place with Trove was because I didn't feel like anyone else was doing it as good as they could. Because usually they would make a tutorial and explain things as if you understand every nuance of the game. And instead, I opted into explaining the nuance of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And I adopt that idea and mentality with all of my tutorials with any game. It's just most games I don't play long enough to justify making tutorials. But that said, most of all, it's the friendships along the way. I know that might sound generic, but genuinely, some of my best friends started out watching my videos, commented and stuff, and then I ended up either meeting them in real life or just knowing them through Razer comms, and then eventually when we moved to Discord and stuff, like pretty much all of the admins and all the mods and everything in our Discord were people that watch my videos. They might not necessarily watch them now, but we have a lifelong friendship from it. And even at my wedding, a couple of the boys from Trove of all things ended up coming to my wedding, like they were my groomsmen. So it's just the idea that we can connect with each other from across the world. That's something that is insanely important to me, and what I've really been trying to push with my videos and with my own like inner mentality in terms of, oh no, I'm sacrificing views for the sake of having better content. Because screw you, YouTube, you're not gonna win. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I love what I do. Monkey.4270 says, what's your favorite movie? If you have one, because it's a tough one. Yes, it is. And maybe what's the second best movie for you and why? Favorite movie off the top of my head is Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I think that is a type of movie that will never exist because both of these stars were at the peak of their career. And then they ended up just both doing a movie together. And frankly speaking, I'm pretty big into like detective crime movie type things. Older ones. Nowadays, they're kind of brain dead and stupid. But, you know, like Johnny Darko? Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco. That's the one with Johnny Depp. That's another one of my all-time favorite movies, probably my second favorite. There's obviously a lot more nuance in there, but I think that both of those like are peak for me. Donnie Brasco, I think, is like a better movie than Heat, but Heat has such a good goddamn soundtrack. And when you get to the end, like the ending, there's nothing like it, man. Like I cry every time. So Monkey also actually has a second part of his question saying, also, how are you doing lately outside of the digital box? Which, yeah, I'm doing quite well if I would say so. Outside of YouTube, things have been very hectic, very, very busy. You know, the wife and I have been working really hard at various projects and stuff that hopefully I'll be able to share and talk with you guys soon, although I think most of you kind of know what it is. We've been running into complications, though, with various things, and it's been a process. So suffice to say, things are great besides that. You know, I'm now that the summer's around, walking the dogs a lot more, trying to get Jub to lose weight, but she's Jabba the Hutt at this point. She just never loses weight because of her stubby legs. She doesn't like walking. But yeah, then just also trying to take care of myself a bit more and prioritize myself, because I get into this really bad habit of prioritizing work. You know, I'm very, very blue collar in that way. And so what I've realized for my own like sense of well-being is that if I start prioritizing myself just as much as I prioritize the work aspect, I feel a lot better for it. Like going to the gym. Sometimes I skip the gym so that I can work, and then I'm grumpy and then wondering why I'm like mad at people on stream and stuff because I get all grumpy and whatever. And so what I do now is I try very, very hard to prioritize. No, dude, the gym is just as important as it is to get a new video up. And that helps a lot. Nom Kirby says, when are you going to play the Bluey video game? I don't know what that is. I know that's a joke comment, so I'll just ignore it. Gabby Mackinon says, what is your favorite TV show? So that's kind of a dual-parter question. My favorite anime is Doro Hey Doro. It's got a lizard guy on the front of it. It is on Netflix. Season 2 was announced this year, and I'm so excited because the first season is years ago now. Highly recommend that anime. It's absolutely amazing and hilarious. Like, there's very few things that bring me to tears of laughter, and Doro Hey Doro did that. But if I would pick a TV show right off of the like top of my head, House of Ninja came out this year, and that's probably one of my favorite TV shows. It's got no filler. All of the characters are great. None of them are grating or annoying. And the story moves at a nice brisk pace. Like there's a point in the series where it goes to a flashback. And in most cases, I get pissed off at a flashback because it's like, oh no, now we're going to spend like 50 episodes here. And it's irrelevant because, you know, what's going on with the now, right? Like flashbacks are cheap and kind of one of my least favorite things in a TV show because it means, oh, they're just dragging it out. House of Ninja does have some flashbacks, but they're very, very brief and to the point. And I just, that stood out to me, but I would highly recommend watching that series, even over Shogun, which was another fantastic series that we watched, but it did drag on a little bit too long. Again, this is more so relevant TV shows because, I don't know, I guess if I had to pick another TV show that I regularly rewatch, it would be Beast Wars. Still holds up today. That was one of my favorite childhood shows. And then when I watched it in my adulthood, I was worried that I would ruin it. Dude, I appreciate that show so much more. Like, it's so good. The animations are a little bit jank because it's such an old, like, full computer graphic TV show. But if you can watch Beast Wars, watch Beast Wars. Stick with it. It starts out a bit slow, but eventually, oh my God, it starts getting heavy with characters being killed off left and right. And it's just so cool. And then, of course, another TV show that I love is Rick and Morty, which I know sounds cringe because it's like, ew, Rick and Morty. The thing with Rick and Morty is I was always like, dude, this kind of seems like a show I would like. And a buddy of mine is what, like, he convinced me to watch it, where he said, dude, the fans are cringe, but the show is really good. And then I watched it, and yeah, it's hilarious. XQXZ_ says, what country would you like to visit, and would you do vlogs? So as far as vlogs are concerned, yes, I am going to keep doing more vlogs for sure, but there's not really enough happening in my personal life to justify doing vlogs. Yes, Jub's going crazy. The wife just got home. And so what I usually opt into doing is vlogs whenever we end up going on a trip, which usually we only do like maybe one trip a year or something just because of finances. This year, we're actually going to, oh God, where is it? Somewhere in the US. It's kind of actually near LA. I don't remember where the place is called, but basically we're going to be visiting one of my buddies in LA. You know, speaking of the other question earlier of my, you know, one of my longtime Trove friends that became a real life friend. And basically we're going to end up doing a vlog at that point. And then at some point we want to go back to Japan again. So there will be another vlog of that. Again, like I don't really do enough real life stuff to justify making too many vlogs. And frankly speaking, when I was doing the regular vlogs, I know that you guys really enjoyed them because you keep asking about me doing more vlogs, but in a way it added a lot more work to my day. Because then it would be like even times where I would normally be relaxing, it's like, oh, I got to record this, you know? And then on top of that, I had to like edit it because there was a point where I was doing vlogs every day and, you know, kind of trying to do it as a daily series. And that quickly got out of hand because I just couldn't keep up with it because I would basically start recording stuff and clips from the start of the day to the night. And then I would usually edit the vlog the day after. But then I had like other things that I would prioritize. So suffice to say, I love doing vlogs, but now it's kind of at the point where I only want to do vlogs when it's necessary, if that makes sense. Like when there's something worth talking about. Zuck, I don't know how to pronounce the whole name. I always just call him Zuck, but Zuckzikowati says, is pineapple pizza legal in Canada? Yes, although it shouldn't be. No, jokes aside, I used to hate pineapple pizza, but I think a lot of that had to do with just me being very closed off to like the idea of trying new things. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here that's not necessarily related to pizza, but it is related to the channel in that I kind of have adopted this idea this year in particular. Last year I started it, this year I'm perfecting it, where I'm really pushing myself to try new things. I don't know if it comes with age and just life becoming kind of boring and monotonous, but I just really like trying new things. And in particular with the channel, I've been trying a lot of games that are outside of my wheelhouse that I don't think I would enjoy. Like, you know, earlier in the year, I played Factorio. I didn't cover it on the channel, but that game is way too dangerously addicting. More recently, I've been recording V Rising because that game is like, it's got a straight and narrow linear progression through the game. And again, it's something that I wouldn't normally even bother playing, but I've been playing it and I've been enjoying it. There's been a lot of games that I've been experimenting with the games you've never heard of series. And it's actually allowed me to come up with new games that are bangers, you know, and lots of games that suck. But generally speaking, that idea of experimentation has not only been something that I've been adopting with the channel, it's also been something that I've been doing with real life. And yes, in regards to pineapple pizza, I love it. There's actually a pizza place near us that has amazing pizza where it has like apples and walnuts on it. And it's so good. Like, it's so weird and it's so good. And I like experimenting with food now more than I ever have before. He's actually got another question saying vanilla or chocolate ice cream? Chocolate 100%. Vanilla if you're a basic idiot. Sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. Pick whatever you want, man. I think like I love chocolate more, but I think it's better to have like both. because then you have the contrast. And then he also asks, is there any possibility for a Ronincraft season 2 with, Ronincraft being my Minecraft server? Yes, eventually we'll end up doing a Ronincraft season 2, probably like either late this year to next year, because there is the new update for Minecraft. But frankly speaking, it's not enough. Like, there hasn't been enough changes to Minecraft at its core to make it interesting enough that I want to go back to it, which is why I'm more so leaning towards, playing Wynncraft again instead. If I'm being perfectly honest, though, I think when I get that 2-week urge to play Minecraft, instead, I really have been wanting to go back to Valheim and finally host a server with that and play that with a bunch of friends, because Valheim, in my opinion, is one of the greatest survival games, right alongside Minecraft. But I've never beat it because when you get to the Copper Age, the game slows to a crawl. And in most times that I'm playing it solo. So it's very slow. So I think it would be really cool to actually host a server, have a bunch of buddies on it, and hopefully be able to actually beat it for once, because that game has continually added some huge game-changing content with the late game biomes and magic and stuff that I haven't really been able to enjoy because I don't have a file that far along. ALZXN8586 says, put fries in my bag, which I thought was some sort of innuendo that he was trying to bait me into or something. And, I didn't want to have to edit it out of the video. So I Googled it, and apparently it's a term that you weird Zoomer freaks have that means you work at McDonald's and have no future, which, funny enough, it's funny that people still dump on McDonald's, because I think that is a necessary evil for a lot of people. I never worked at McDonald's, but I did work at Starbucks instead. And frankly speaking, outside of the ungodly amount of grease that you're going to deal with and, acne that you'll get from working at McDonald's, frankly speaking, it's a good job and someone's got to do it. There was a mentality that somebody had. I remember hearing a post where someone was saying how wages are not conducive in a way that makes sense with the way that the world works. Because, you got a doctor getting a crap ton of money, and then you got the McDonald's employee getting garbage. But the doctor wants to get McDonald's. So isn't that just as valuable, In this day and age of restaurants, no, I think that it's all a ripoff, because post-COVID, for some stupid reason, restaurants upped their prices, and then they were like, oh, we don't have to lower our prices. People are still buying all this crap. And so now for me, here in Canada anyways, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, McDonald's costs the same as going out to eat at a restaurant. Why in the hell would I pay the same amount for a bug burger that I would for a pizza? It doesn't make any sense. And it sucks and it makes me mad, because I like McDonald's bug burgers. Chico RTL says, AMA, can I get a free Ganda? You could, from the dupers. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all the questions that we have time for today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I was very surprised at the amount of positive comments and the comments that didn't relate to Trove. So that was actually very much appreciated. Usually I just get it filled up with a bunch of Trove questions that I end up ignoring. But yeah, I appreciate it, and I took the time to make this video a bit longer so that I could, go into more detail about all of these things, because I'm kind of at this point right now where, as I mentioned before, I'm doing super heavy cuts in a lot of my videos and trying to have this mentality of not wasting your guys' time when you click on one of my videos, basically. But with this type of video, it's something that kind of begs a longer time frame, where I kind of got to go into more detail about all these things rather than just skip through and answer as quick as possible. So instead, it's, it's kind of this is a video for the fans kind of thing, rather than, trying to make it something that's digestible. With all of that said, guys, I appreciate you watching and appreciate your positivity and support. You can blast those people in the comments that are trying to be toxic towards the channel. Most definitely go for it. Don't get banned from YouTube. But yeah, suffice to say, they're mean, and I don't understand why that's allowed. But anyways, if you want to catch my some of my other videos, the YouTube recommends a video on the top right, and then up here is just my most recent upload. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and yeah, I just thank you guys for watching.